Hey guys, how you doing?
How's it going?
Welcome back. Thanks for coming back to check us out this week. And thanks to all the testers who've already jumped in. And we're going to go over some stuff today, but appreciate all you guys joining us today.
Yeah, thanks. I got to drag a few of you guys off the old testing. I know we threw it up there last night. It was a little bit longer than we expected. Those servers have been giving us hassles, but I think we're finally past the rough spots. And so we'll go ahead and talk a little more about what you guys want to talk about today. So.
Yep, awesome. We'll start off with the trivia. Then we actually got Luke back by popular demand to go over some things with you. And then we'll open it up for questions and answer some of the questions you guys brought forth on the forum. So let's go ahead and cut to the trivia. All right. Starting off for the locals, you guys have seen all this. Again, obnoxiously hard. I will preface today's may be a little bit harder than normal. So the rules, again, only win one shirt, and get all the information to Sonia.
Still super obnoxious too, guys. And you guys know what the shirts look like by now, so.
All right, question one. Now, I'm going to a football theme since football starts this week, so my questions are going to be football themed. In the game Cyberball, the ball was explosive. What were the states that the ball would be in before it exploded? You have to name all of them. And the second part is, on the Turbo Boost feature, how often could you use it? Maybe get to those Leisure Suit Larry questions next time.
You probably have better luck with those.
Yeah. Small, big, and kaboom. No. Some of you guys are super Google guys. I'm surprised you guys haven't gotten it yet.
You guys should always have Google up when John asks his questions.
Yeah, exactly.
They're ridiculous. I got close. Clone's close.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll give you about 10 more seconds and move on, and if nobody gets this one. I didn't think this would be that obnoxious. Man, no Sega Genesis players here.
Obnoxious.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead. All right, so there was cool, warm, hot, and critical, and then after that you'd explode. And then the next one is once per play.
Sweet. Yeah, you got the first part almost.
All right, next question. All right, in the game Tecmo Bowl, most teams had 2 pass plays and 2 run plays. Which 2 teams had 3 pass plays and 1 run play? And you can either get the city or the name of the team. And second part of it, what 2 teams featured the wide receiver run play? All right, so Gemini, you got one of them. The Panthers actually didn't exist when Tecmo Bowl came out. All right, Miami and 49ers for the first part. The second part is the obnoxious part.
It always is.
Yeah. All right. Washington was one of them. And who's the other one? Minnesota. All right. Yep, go ahead. All right, so that's the answer. Nice job.
Good deal. Now we're going to my good questions here. So one of my all-time favorites, Kangaroo.
Wow, Kangaroo.
Yep, spent a long time playing that one at the bowling alley near my house. Go ahead and hit it. What was the kangaroo fighting? And B, what weapon did the kangaroo use to fight with? Nope.
Nope.
Close. Yep, we got. You got to answer both of them. Monkeys. So we got monkeys from Higach. And boxing. Yeah, Clone got monkey and boxing gloves. Good. Yep, go ahead and hit it. Really good. Monkeys and boxing. I'm surprised more of you guys didn't play that. Good game. Monkeys and boxing gloves. Cool. Next one. Name 3 arcade games where the objective of each is to rescue Daphne.
Probably if you get one, you'll probably get them all.
Hey, no hints.
Oh, sorry. It's still kind of obnoxious.
2 of them. Unfragged's got 2 of the 3. The question is 3. Come on, Unfragged. You're so close, man. Yep, Dragon's Lair 2. Man, how could you miss that one? You got the first one.
You got the ones on both sides of it.
Good job. So. There you go. Keen and Grave, actually. Look at that. Space Ace, Dragon's Lair 2. Perfect. Yeah, go ahead and hit it. Good. You guys hung out in arcades like I did when I was a kid, man. You probably remember seeing those games quite a bit. So pretty cool.
All right. Okay. Awesome. So thanks for tuning in on that. Get the information to Sonia. I'm going to go ahead and cut out. We'll let Luke come in and answer some of your questions. I know he was running around with some of you just a few minutes ago in the testing. So fire up the questions and Luke will get with you.
Yeah, Luke wants to go to lunch, so hit him with all the questions. Have a few minutes. I thought it'd be a pretty cool thing to have one of the actual devs working on things. We can start out by letting him update you a little bit on the stuff he's been working on. He's kind of finishing off the guild system, the in-game guild system. And to give you a kind of a preview to one of the questions that was asked this week as well, is the actual guild site. As you guys know, we kind of did a soft launch, and you guys have been testing it out and find all the issues with it. We're doing a push of new content today, so we should have it all ready to go for an announcement Monday. But you guys try it out this weekend. Let us know if you see anything else, but you'll see a dramatic improvement in the website today. So the in-game guild stuff Luke's been working on, so he can give us a quick update, and then you guys throw out any questions you have for Luke. So
guilds are going pretty well. We're actually getting to the point where they'll be testable within a week or 2, so that'll be really, really nice for the testers to do that, bang on them, get all those bugs out.
Good. And then, all right, so we're going to go ahead and one of the other things, too, just so you guys may have a direction for your questions, Luke's actually worked on a lot of the messaging in the game and the vendors that you guys are testing as well, to kind of put him on the spot. And then he's also, after the guilds, he's slated to work on the something I know you guys have a lot of opinions about, is the auction house type functionality. So how things are bought and sold between players in the game. So he's going to be on that right after the guild system. So you guys, if you guys want to ask him anything, that's kind of his specialty right now, is a lot of the systems. So yeah, and we can also talk about beta too if you guys want to know about that. So go ahead and throw them out there, and we'll let you guys know about it.
There's a question about the chat windows, and yes, we will be able to have multiples. That's something, I don't think that's in there yet, but definitely something we're doing.
And there was questions about sizing and the coloring of the UI. Are we going to be able to do any of that stuff yet, or how's it?
Yeah, that's definitely something we're looking into. We're actually trying to figure out a way to get basically, you'll be able to pick whatever color you'd like for the UI, probably from some palette that we provide. There's also another question about guild crafters. Professions for the guild will probably not be in at release, but that is definitely something we would like to add, definitely be able to see.
Yeah, all the suggestions you guys make, I know in the forums as well, Luke makes a list of all the suggestions, so he takes it very seriously. Timothy W., can we resize chat windows? We can do that already, so you can already do that, for sure.
Yeah, we've definitely been taking a look at all the font sizes and trying to improve the visibility whenever we can. A lot of times we may be able to actually expose that size to you, especially in the chat window, so we'll definitely be doing that as we move through all the different phases of beta.
And you can actually pick a font size as well. I know we're still, like Luke said, we're still messing with that a little bit, but if you right click on the tabs on the chat, you get a lot more options if you guys that are in beta haven't seen that yet. I like to jack up the text and have it bigger so I can read it easy, but that's just me. Anyway, okay, good. Yeah, and what version of UI do you think we're on now?
Well, since I've started, we've already changed the UI about 2 or 3 times now, and I've heard it changed 2 or 3 times before I got here, so probably at version 7 or 8 now.
Yeah. The UI guy sits right next to Luke, so he's always peeking over and doing things. And I will tell you, he's working on a new version right now as we speak. So you can probably, I've seen the whatever you call them, the mock-ups from the videos of Orange, of me talking about Orange or something. Someone printing that out. That's not exactly how that went down, but kind of. All right, good. So
Warren liked the orange, and then
I did.
2 months later, he's like, I don't like the orange anymore.
So gotta go back to blue. Sure. Okay. Guild perks. I don't know about that. What about the GUI? I don't know if this would be. So Joss was asking multiple hotbars on top of each other. That's a pretty standard thing in MMOs.
Yeah, right now I think we're planning on having a hotbar on the bottom and an optional one on the right. I think the main reason for that is that the number of abilities is pretty low, so you're not going to need, a ton of hotbars like you might need in other games. We may add an extra level or 2. I don't know. That's something we'll have to see if there's a real need for it.
Yep. And you guys, the standard, there is multiple numbers that you can click through of the hotbar on the bottom, so you can set your icons.
Like Krawkaw just said, you can definitely flip the pages. So I think it has 5 pages right now.
Yep, exactly. And good. So no questions on like some of the big systems, like how things are bought and sold between players as far as auction house functionality and vendors and merchants and things like that. Surprised. You guys are usually pretty heavily opinionated on that. Every other time we talk about it, you guys like...
They're being put on the spot. They don't
have... Yeah, Jim and I.
How are things bought and sold between players?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to have an auction house, trade chat.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff will be the PDA functionality, so that's the cool thing. It won't matter where you're at in the game, you'll be able to access it. So, there will be certain things you can do to pick up your items at certain vendors, so to speak, but most of the functionality is still tied into your PDA. Okay. Reverse auction method. We're getting into variants now.
Yeah, so that would be something like buy orders.
Yeah.
I don't know, that might be a possibility. We'll have to see as we get a little further along.
Yeah, I have talked to Luke quite a bit about this, and he's a big fan of buy now. He doesn't really like the bidding type stuff, so you may see a little variant on that.
Yeah, that's actually something that we've talked about a lot, is that being able to bid on an item creates a lot of extra, there's a lot of extra work, and it basically can be very tedious for the players and tedious for us because we have to manage all those bids. So what we may do is just have a buy it out now. So that's something we're still in the process of figuring out, but that's what it's looking like right now.
Yep, actually. Yeah, there you go, Craw. Dutch auctions. I knew there was something from my schooling that I remember what it was called. Good. All right, and then let me see if there's any other. We got the list from you guys on the forums. Let's see if there's anything else on here that we can talk about. Okay.
Do I need to make a face for unfragged?
Yeah.
I'll let you put in the caption for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm not really that tired yet. I was up quite late with you guys last night trying to get the servers running, but not too bad, you guys. Not too bad. Good. So, all right, if you guys are taking it easy on Luke. I figure you guys would hammer him here. You guys, not too often you get another developer out here, so good. we'll go ahead and let him get to lunch then, and you'll see. I'm sure you guys that are in beta will see him online in a little bit here. He's kind of been moderating a little bit, so go ahead. All right, thanks a lot, Luke.
I'll try to wear a skater shirt next time.
Let John get back here. So while John's switching over, I can talk a little bit about the beta. You guys know we had it start last night. There's a lot of small glitches and things that we didn't experience in the development environment that we're hammering out. So thank you so much we're already working through them. It is a very early beta, as you guys know, and but overall I've been pretty pleased with seeing a lot of people on there and actually being able to kill the mobs and talk to vendors and buy and sell things. And I mean, we have several people that are already have 100 skill points or more in a few hours, so that's pretty promising. It's kind of the way we envision it progressing. But as we said before, a lot of the animations and things that are in there, those are the main issue we're working out, the stiffness in the animations and things. So it may seem like a lot of you have been in the other phases of beta that it's a step backwards, 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward, but it's really, we're trying to take 1 step back and 2 steps forward. And I think we're doing that. It's something that we're working on. I think overall it's pretty promising, the first beta.
And one of the things that you don't see behind the scenes, but there's an enormous amount of content now with what we've developed to be able to push and modify things. So what you'll see even from this one to the next one are some dramatic changes in the itemization, the NPCs. What we're looking at right now is the flow. Can you get in? Can you buy stuff from the vendors? Are all those systems working? And so on the back end, as you progress, there's other things we're looking at that will give us information for the next beta going forward.
Yep, exactly. So, and it's super early. I mean, a lot of you guys are noticing that, but overall the progression is going to be great. I mean, over the next few months, I'm actually more anxious than anything to find out, how it's going to end up looking and how it's going to work in a few months from now. But okay, so we got a couple things. Bissett asked, is there a buyback option on NPCs? The answer is yes. Yep, that's already in there. Actually, Luke, who just left, is the one who put that option in, so you could have asked him about it in depth, but yeah, for sure.
A few questions just wanted to go over that were tossed out. We don't have any videos or screenshots this time, so it's pretty much open forum. So I'm going to go ahead and throw out some answers, and I'll let you know the questions. If you have anything, now's the time to go and broach it, and we'll just mix those in. In regard to the professions, there were questions about the biotechs and the dyeing of the armor. The dyes currently are set up to be consumable, so basically you'll go out, you'll get the materials, you'll make it, and it'll be a consumable with one use. In addition, the dyes, how they work is the armor sets, some of them you'll be dyeing the entire piece, some of them will have sectional pieces that are basically set up in the texture map, that when you dye part of it, only part of it will dye, and then you would apply the dye to another portion, but it's going to vary from piece to piece. So it's a little bit of both. Some will have the textures are segmented off that you could apply technically 2 dyes, some it's only 1. And then there was a question about, can you dye jetpacks, and you will not be able to dye jetpacks.
Good, and then my old friend Vicariousness asked, when might we see some PvP combat? Well, actually, there's quite a bit going on right now, and the beta guys are ganking each other pretty well. But I know what you're talking about. You're not talking about that. We're working on the other. We still have a whole. You haven't seen even really a fraction of what we have as far as content. But the main thing in our game is the combat and the way the players move and work. And right now, it's not up to par, and that's what the testing's for. So once we get it all ironed out, we're going to throw the other humans and assailants in there, and then we're going to actually work on that. So it's right around the corner of Vicariousness. That's something we're working on, but we have to get this animation issue ironed out. We kind of have restructured things, so it made things a little stiffer and a little clunkier, as a lot of the beta testers can attest to, even though they're under NDA, I guess. I'll tell you right now, but it's gonna. I have no doubt that we're going to get it all ironed out, and it's going to be great. So anyway.
Raidsoft, in regard to your question, what are we expecting people to get gear from while progressing? It's actually all of those things. You'll see as the systems come on, so initially you'll see vendors and drops, and then when we're comfortable with letting you guys test out the profession systems, that'll be mixed in. Again, we've designed a hierarchy to where vendors and drops are going to be lower than the crafted systems. The crafted systems will maintain the highest modifiers as far as the stats and the performance. So ideally, that's what you want to strive for. But all of those things will be mixed in. A few of them are in there now that the players are testing, and more will be rolled in.
Man, I don't mean to be answering all of Vicariousness's questions, but it seems like he answers them right when I'm looking down there. Do the characters make blocking and parrying type movements? They do have some dodges and deflects right now, Vicariousness, but it's funny you bring that up because our lead animator was just talking about throwing in a few more blocking motions and things like that. They look pretty cool, and if we can fit them in there, that's one thing we'd like to add more of for sure.
Yeah, one of the things that goes in with that is we have questions about the abilities, how they scale, and more importantly, the final points that you're putting into those abilities. Are you going to get anything extra? And in the design of the abilities, those last couple points are really where you want to be. That'll give you that extra boost, bang for the buck. So case in point, if you have an ability that is going to scale your damage, you may see a substantial boost, or you will see a substantial boost going from 8 to 9 to 10 incrementally with each one of those. So it's designed so you're going to have to make the choices. Is this really what I want to do, or do I want to use those points elsewhere? But that's the way that it's set up. So the last couple points in each one of those really give you an extra bang for the buck.
Yep. And there was a couple salient questions from the video last week, I suppose, and they want to know about the trails. We got a lot of flack about the trails being super long. Of course, they were exaggerated in the video, but the length isn't customizable. They're not that exaggerated on the real salients at all. We're working on right now giving the option in the main menu to be able to toggle effects, so you would be able to toggle those off, although that's not in there right now. The color does extend from the body color of the salients, so you have to be very wise about the color you pick at the beginning of the game, because a lot of your transformations and things like that take on the colors that you pick for your armor plating and your body skin color and the other. I think there's about 3 different levels of color you can pick. So you have to be very careful about that, because a lot of the other things that you transform into and things in the game actually take on that color. So.
There have been some questions about color palettes and things like that. One of the things, as far as what color palettes you be able to dye a given piece of armor, that at the end of the day, you'll have a set. Some of the more either vibrant or more desired colors will be probably in the higher tiers, and then also you'll have gradations. But there will be a set palette that will be set up. It won't be every color in the rainbow that will be on there. So, and then you also will have variants from one faction to the next.
Exactly. And then one question on cloaking. Someone asked, and these are my favorite, do the cloaking classes have permacloak, or is it an energy last a limited time type feature? And most of you guys in beta, I guess, could probably answer that. Now, is there anyone that could answer that as far as if it's permanent or time delineated? Oh, Pedro. NDA.
See, he was baiting you. Good catch. Good catch.
Pedro.
I was hoping you would be baited for that.
Strike Pedro from the beta. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right. Some other questions, and actually these are our PvP centric, so wanted to throw them out to you. We have mixed thoughts on both ways, but some of the questions were, one, in PvP combat you have the ability to see a player's name. So when you go fight somebody of the other faction, you'll be able to see it. In a game like Dark Age of Camelot, all you saw were their faction and the realm rank of what they were. So is it something that you, and we want to throw it out there because we have basically both systems set up, but do you prefer just seeing the faction and then a title, or do you prefer just seeing the name and we can add a title in as well? Which do you prefer? And so that's something that we want to kind of throw out there, because we're torn both ways on it. We see values of both. It's nice to know somebody's name, gain some notoriety, but there's also that, hey, I'm within my own faction, and it's more of a team effort if you do it that way. So Wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that. So voice them here on the forums. That'll be good to help us know where to go.
I like the name system myself. I want them to see who's killing them.
Yeah, and see, I could see that, but I'm from Dark Age of Camelot, so it was something cool when you ran up against a guy that was a dragon knight or something like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, and it's something that made an impact on you. It wasn't just this flurry of titles all over the place that may or may not mean anything. So that's just one of the things that we wanted to look at. I definitely understand the name portion, but we wanted to voice it to you so you can kind of help us out and give us some guidance.
Yep. And in Keen and Grave, go back to what you're asking before. The cloaking is permanent. Yeah. So once you enter it, you're kind of stealthed out. So
right.
Good. And
all right. Let's see some questions as far as the progression. I won't bait the beta guys like Warren did, but the idea is that we want you to have a mix, and so we've told you. And again, the beta guys probably have seen this. We want the areas to be big, and so right now you'll see a portion. There's NPCs. You go out there, and we have the mission system set up, but we haven't released that out for the testing yet. But we want you to get out there, explore. If you're the type that wants to sit there and grind, there's a path to that. Maybe it's your cup of tea. For me, it's not personally. I kind of like a mix. So we've designed the mission system to flow with that. If you want to do more missions, they will be available, but it will not be, you have to go here, do this, you have to go there, do that.
Exactly, and then, sorry, I lost my train of thoughts reading all your comments. Good. So a bunch of other questions. Basically, there's some base questions and some general questions we could talk to a little bit. Flying is allowed anywhere. Yeah. Someone asked, is flying allowed in buildings? You can fly anywhere. So that's the kind of the cool thing. We didn't want to make a game where you were restricted. So as a lot of people have been in the alphas and other testing phases can attest to, you can literally go anywhere in the world, and most of them have probably.
Yeah.
But we will give you this one warning though: the higher you go up, the more you see. You better have a pretty good system if you get up to see giant swaths of the whole world. So it's kind of fly up high as you can go at your own risk. That's a risk you're taking.
True. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. There was a question about showing human progress. We've shown the Assailant, we've shown the Rodon. One of the things we've always felt about the human faction is we didn't want it to be, oh yeah, let's just add humans in. We wanted the humans actually to look awesome. So the humans we're spending quite a bit of time on them because that's one of the things that we as humans have an easy frame of reference for. So we want to make certain they look good, they look distinct, they play well. And even the areas, hopefully you've seen some of the screenshots like in London or whatnot. We want the areas when you get there to feel like, wow, oh my gosh, it really like you're involved in that faction. You get into the feeling and the story of that. So we are working on them. We want them to be as awesome as the other ones. And as soon as we feel ready to show you those, we definitely will. But we are giving them love.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough choice, Zarian. Zarian asked about the transmorphing Assailants and brutal Rodons and the humans. The humans are awesome, though. I mean, literally, it's gonna be a tough choice, and that's what we hope. We hope that it gets balanced. We'll have the balancing discussion, I'm sure, at some point. But the humans are awesome. You guys will see the armors up close and personal, and it's pretty neat. So. Yeah. And everyone identifies with the human, right? Isn't that the most played class all the time anyway?
It seems that way. So, let's see. Other questions? Oh, there was a question on if I would look evil with a goatee. So I'm going to frame this up and give Unforgiven a clean shot. So use that one to put the goatee on it. So I tried doing it in like Paint or Photoshop, and it didn't look good. So I'll give you that one so you can toss that up there.
Yeah, good. All right, so as far as some of the other PvP, really we're just addressing a lot of the first off play mechanic and combat issues, as you know, so we can definitely answer more questions on that. But bases, we can answer a few of those too. Those seem to always crop up. We do Let me see.
There were some questions about the bases and do you have to be a crafter to call down a base? And the idea is that anybody can call down a base once it's cleared off. So we want it to be that RTS kind of aspect of it. And so there is a progression for the bases, but we don't want people to be excluded from being able to experience that part of the game.
Yep. And does a person need to be present for the upgrades to happen? You do not need to be present. You can call down the buildings and leave and go attack another base as well. But obviously that makes the current base undefended. If someone else isn't there, it makes it easy for it to be retaken. So it's kind of a weighing factor. How long will it take to upgrade after each stage is built? So usually each stage we're planning on currently less than a minute. That's not a solid set in stone thing. So in all, with 7 different buildings, it still takes about 5 minutes to build out a complete base. So it takes a little while, and that may sound like a short time, but when you're being attacked and people are wanting to take your base, it can seem like an eternity. So,
yeah. Jocelyn Raitsoff had questions about bonuses, and ideally the way that we want it to work is that there's a clean mechanism for advancing your stats. The stats thereby roll into all the mechanics that whether you do damage, heal, or whatnot. We wanted to be wary of modding skill point values because basically it lets someone get super geared out at a lower level, compete with higher level people on a skill level basis that can skew some of the mechanics. So not going to say we won't do that. Right now it's not something that we've designed in that you're going to be able to mod your skill point by adding gear and things of that nature, but we have looked at it and want to make certain that we keep the balance. So in essence, if we keep it simple, we focus on the core things, the game experience ends up being better as opposed to somebody that just goes and gets gear and is suddenly uber because of that.
Good. Okay. I think we've answered this one before, but I guess it's worth repeating. Low Key asked if only high-level harvesters can mine for Prime, and that is not so. Any harvester, anyone in the game can actually mine any one of the elements, any one of the materials. So it's not restricted. The advantage you get from focusing on it, though, is better harvesters. So you guys will see really quick the capacity and the speed at which different harvesters work is different. All harvesters are not created equal.
True.
So that's a big bonus if you can have more capacity and speed.
Mm-hmm. Bissett had a question about the base upgrades, coin or other currencies. In the game, just to kind of put it to rest, there's credits and then there's all the materials that you mine, and hopefully you guys develop a barter system. Currently, there's one phase or one level of the bases, not to say that there won't be multiple ones. The means to upgrade those most likely would probably be a credit system, but we can definitely look at different avenues to actually upgrade it. But we don't want to hamper you by having to have a specific thing to be able to upgrade or experience specific parts of the game.
Okay.
Question, Lashrak had a question about skills based on stats. I mentioned it last time or a couple times ago. There's 4 key stats in the game that basically drive everything else, and for doing damage, your weapon and those 4 key stats pretty much drive everything that you would have as an output, whether it be a crit, whether it be melee or ranged, whether it be an attack strength like melee or ranged. Those are all the things that those 4 key stats fill into, in addition to your skill level.
And vicariousness, when targeting, is there anything on the enemy that indicates you are targeting them? Right now it's a rim shader, so it's just a glow. So I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of that before. The entire area around the PC glows, so it's pretty apparent which one you're targeted on, actually. And we're still, once again, we're still working out a lot of the targeting issues. A lot of you in beta have seen that, so we're still fiddling around with different ways to target. Yep. But it's quite apparent when you're on someone.
Question about what's to prevent people from either gimping or nerfing you calling down the bases or not calling down the right one, whatnot. We're looking at different mechanics as far as ownership and possibly giving guilds control. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there are smart things you can do and or not do. And if you have a player that all they're doing is trying to cause havoc in a big world like Dominus, they're probably going to end up getting run over because nobody's going to want to hang out with them, just quite frankly, if they're gimping you. So we want to let some things police themselves. We don't want to overcrowd the players with, oh, well, it's got to be this condition or that condition. So we want to leave it fairly open, but we'll look at all those things as we go through and get that pushed out to you.
And Hot Swap asked do the different armor types provide different levels of damage mitigation, or is the difference just cosmetic? And although we're paying great attention to the cosmetic aspects of the armor, each one is totally different, and there's 3 different grades, and they all do provide different damage mitigation, and they all have different abilities and stats as well tied to them.
Let's see, will there be an attack warning system like guard spam? The idea is not to have NPCs, but we do want to give away so that you can know to go to specific areas, largely because that's how we want the combat to flow. So you're looking for people to engage with and fight as opposed to run away from. So we do have some systems in place. We don't intend to have a large amount and or many NPCs that would do that, but we would have a mechanism for that.
So RaidSoft asked, how will you limit people's movements, zone edges, invisible walls, or really tall mountains? That's a really tough question, RaidSoft. As you know, it is still a video game, so there are limitations. Everyone knows that. But John and I together, one of the things we're adamant about is like having as few limitations as possible and having an open world. We want to have you be able to run around. The interiors of the maps are totally open. Everything is you can run anywhere you want. To see a peak of a mountain, I want to be able to go there, by golly. So to answer your question more specifically, though, there's a variety of things we do. We use the tall mountains, obviously, but at the same time, we don't try and bathtub you into certain areas. We try and make them big, huge vistas as much as possible. So there are some edge of the world type blocking mountains. One of the favorites of the team is to put incredibly mean NPC mobs at the edge of the map, so that basically it's like a death by exploring too far kind of thing. So that's one thing. Like if you swim out too far into the ocean and you happen to find a vicious, I shouldn't probably give this away, but they've made some vicious shark-like creatures that are alien.
There you go, Gemini.
That if you swim out too far, that you're likely to be eaten by a shark. Yeah. So those kind of things limit your movement out there. But the invisible wall thing, we try and limit that as much as possible. Even when you do get up on these high peaks that are on the edge of the mountain, you will see far off in the distance other things as well. So it'll feel like it won't feel like you're hitting a wall, But yeah, so yeah, you read my mind, Gemini.
Let's see. I think that's about it. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Shrek's asking more questions about the armor and different weaknesses. The different armors have different things that can be tied to them. They do have different weaknesses. It's not just better armor mitigation based on that. The armor actually has functionality. Has what do you call them? They're kind of like stats tied to them, and there's different abilities and things like that on the higher end armors. So there's a lot of different things, and there's some of them may have a lot of nice things to them too. But one of the things that John and I have talked about too, there may be some that have negatives to putting the armor on as well. So there's you kind of have to weigh out what the best thing is to do. So.
A couple questions. Currently, you can't jetpack out of the water. So if you hit the shark in the water, he's gonna eat you.
Yeah.
Housing. Interesting question. Without saying too much, I'll let you know our feelings on housing. We like housing. We think it's a great thing to have in a game, and we prefer that it not be instanced. So I don't know if you want to add anything else about that. But
right now, it is definitely on the high up there list of wants. We're finished, as a lot of you in beta know, we want to get the combat done. That's our main focus right now. And the gameplay will come together. We feel really good about that. But at the end of the day, housing is very high up there. We want to get it up there. But right now, it's not a critical feature. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how the progression goes over the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess, and one of the things, if you like housing a lot, there are other games out there you could play right now that all you do is build housing. So maybe those will tide you over till we have it.
Okay, and Duck Mandu said, will there be randomly applied attacks on the armor pieces where you have a higher chance of hitting a body piece versus gloves? Or are the pieces just there to give combined stat boost? Well, yeah, right now it's all combined, Doc Mandu. It's not randomly generated. It's more of a whole thing.
Yeah, there is a split on the durability loss that's I don't know, dispersed over the set at a certain percentage rate. So it's not 100% across everything. So that is in there, but yeah, it's not like a cold shot on a head or anything like that.
Yep, and that's the thing too, is there'll be a different durability for each item. So I'm reading what Sonia has to say.
Yeah.
See her jumping in there.
Yeah.
I see my name and I tend to see what she's saying.
Yeah, it looks like it's me this time, but I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
So let's see. Later beta stages, one of the things we're trying to do when we try to be fairly clear in each of the phases of the testing is letting the testers know what we want to test, what we'd like feedback on in addition to anything that we tested prior, and what the new steps are. And so there'll be systems that we're bringing out. It could be a huge push of content, whether it be items, whether it be NPCs, whether it be new zones, whether it be just a run of things. So those are the things that you'll see from us as testers, that you'll see this gradation of the things that we'll want you to take a look at.
Yeah, I can't say enough about you guys as testers. You guys are awesome. The things you guys tell us and the things we're able to fix, and the patience to bear with us through some of these early on server issues, that's really good. But it's exciting. I'm super excited to be able to, and for you guys as well, to see the game at its earliest states, so to speak, that were open to anyone else other than the team. And then a few months from now, for us to look back, I'm pretty excited for that. So it's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah, and hopefully you enjoy this, because that's one of the things as gamers that even from our experience when we'd gone in and tested things, really a lot of the decisions were already made, and it's, hey, here's what it is, and you're like, oh, it would have been great if they had that. We really want to make certain, and hopefully you see, when you bring stuff to us, we're looking at it, we're saying, is that good, is that fun? I mean, that's ultimately our criteria at the end of the day, but so far you guys have been awesome. So if you can just keep that up, keep giving us constructive feedback where we can improve and make this game the best thing possible, that's how we make a better game.
Mm-hmm. And Keenan Grave asked about the Hero Engine, which we're using, and is it allowing us to do all the things we want to do with Prime. We like the Hero Engine. It's a great engine that lets us develop a lot of content fast. It is something that we had to develop a lot of systems. Really, the Hero Engine is great for art, but really you have to develop all the systems that go with it. So it was a long time coming that we have the systems we have now. But the Hero Engine is great. I wouldn't say it allows us to do all the things we want to do with Prime, because John and I, we've actually modded the engine quite a bit ourselves, and we have all these great ideas of things we want to put in there that it doesn't do, obviously, that we have to kind of work around. But it's a good engine. It works great. It actually does help for rapid development, though. Yeah,
and there are a lot of things that you'd have to know a little bit about Hero, but a lot of things that we want to do to try to push the envelope. And so there's a lot of things we've been able to do and we've been really happy with, to be able to say, let's try to do this, even though it might not have been the original concept for the engine. It's been able to do it, and it's been pretty awesome.
Loki asks, will guild names allow spaces, number, or other special characters? See, you should have asked Luke. Luke was here earlier. That's a perfect question. He's on the guild system.
No, don't know that one.
I can't remember.
You're going to have to hope he comes back again and write that down.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Pedro.
Yeah. Let's see here. I missed one of them. There's a question about to hit, but I missed it. Maybe we can roll back.
Bisette asked about restrictions on turrets, how many can be placed. Really, bases have limits as far as how many buildings you can place. So there is a limit on that. You usually have 7 different buildings. You can choose to build out one of each if you want, or put down more of a single type. That's all fine and dandy. So there is a restriction in that way, but really there's nothing in the game that says you can only have one turret or you can only have multiples, you know.
Yeah. Zerian question about programmer. Luke is a programmer, and actually, if you saw Chit last week, he's the guy that lost in the Mortal Kombat fight. He's a programmer too. So, but yeah, those are the guys that are actually building the systems from raw code, so that you guys see the end product. So we try to have them out because those are the things that you guys ask as gameplay features that they can actually make happen.
Craw asked about the salient forms. Really good question. He asked, we said the salients had multiple forms. Does it mean the salient can have, for example, rec and construct? It doesn't work that way, Craw. Each salient class has its own unique form. So if you are rec or construct, you have your own form for that. It looks totally different. The one you saw in the video was construct. So the rec one will look totally different. What we were implying was intonating or hinting or alluding to was that there are other forms other than your class form that you have at your disposal as a salient.
Right, so you have your main base form, which is the human looking model. You have a class form, which is what you saw the construct morph into, and then
a couple others.
Something else.
Yep.
If you want to have the salient look like a pink pony, you possibly could.
Okay.
Let's see. We'll take the last few if you guys want to toss them out there.
And Zach Prime asked what the Wraith form looks like. Well, we'll have to do a reveal on that later, but I will tell you that looks more like the stealther of the class, obviously. So you can kind of imagine it's not as big, bulky as the construct, and it's pretty, actually the Wraith is one of my favorites. So.
Yeah, I think it'll be different than what you think it's going to be as far as how it looks, without giving too much away. But it's definitely a dramatic difference from what you saw in the construct. There's a question about the male player characters being as small as females. There is a height variance, so it's a range between a set height and the max.
I think actually it's set the same right now. I can't verify that. I'll have to go check. I think the male and female are pretty much set the same. I have to go check. I can't remember, but I don't think. Yeah. I think you can take a male down as far as the female. Yep.
No, there are no female Rodons. There's female human and there's female salient, but there are no female Rodons.
Low blow, Craw.
Wow, Craw, them's fighting words. Woo! So.
Yeah, more healing questions, man.
I know, seriously. One of the things in the testing right now, so right now the players have the HK. So one of the things we really want to be careful with is understanding damage distribution. So as a player does damage, are we seeing when you put out and you say somebody has a 10% chance to crit, when we come back and we look at the distribution over time, do we really get that damage? And we're doing the same thing with healing. One of the things we want to lock in is how the damage looks, and then what the healing we need to offset it at like what we feel comfortable with. What we don't want it to be is just you're sitting there spamming heals and you can never kill somebody. So without, I guess, going into too much more, the healers are probably next slated up to get out there and get testing with all the different things you can do, whether it be an AoE heal, a direct chain, almost channeled like heal, dot or HOTS, and direct heals. So I got you, Pedro, and I'll probably get you more as we get to these next tests. But we want to at least get the damage system down, look at that distribution, then we'll get the healing in, and then you'll have both, and you guys can run with it.
Vicarious asks how many servers on launch. That's a tricky question because the ambiguous part of that question, vicariousness, is when is launch, and I don't want to open up that can of worms yet, but we're struggling along, trying to get to there. Right now I can tell you we have three different servers. We need a minimum of 3 because you have to be one of each faction, of course. Mm-hmm. And you are limited to faction per server, so if you want to create one of each, you have to have 3. So we have 3 servers, and they're pretty monstrous servers that we're using right now. They're pretty awesome. We just basically purchased them last month. And that's what a lot of the beta testers are going through now. We actually have a lot of the stuff working on dev, and we put it over to the production servers where they're live, and stuff changes, and it doesn't work like we had it. So we're working through that, and it's good that we have really good testers that we have to help us through that. So.
Yep. A question, Prime, to you had a question about when we have the guilds in the beta for group testing. We're actually testing grouping now and the guild system that Luke has. So I would say it's probably not too far off that we want to have that in, get an idea. We've already tested some server loads and we're happy with those. And we're testing the combat and the guild system and the grouping. So we'll tie all those together. I would say it's not going to be too far off that we're going to be doing that.
Yeah, I'd say Luke will probably have the guild stuff done next Tuesday or so. No, I'm just kidding. Luke always goes back and watches the videos, so I just wanted to give him a heart attack. All right, so
it will be done.
Yeah, exactly. But like he said earlier in the video, he said next week it was looking pretty good. Maybe the following week. So within the next 2 weeks, we'll probably be good with that. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And actually, it's funny. There was a question about the patching, and hopefully you guys have seen. Literally, Warren was here till 1 doing it. One of the cool things that Hero lets us do is when there's an issue or problem, we don't have to wait till next Tuesday, bring things down for 8 hours and fix them. We can literally get in and fix them now so that they work for you, which is pretty substantial.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, right now there are 6-man groups, Vicariousness. That is right. We think that's a good number based on the utility of all the different classes. So I know there's a lot of discussion out there for upping it to 8. So we'll see what happens. Right now there's 6, and we feel pretty good with that. We want it to be a tight-knit group.
I'll tell you what, if you can give us a good reason other than nostalgia or just picking a number out of the air on why it should be 8, that'll probably help us out to understand. But we don't want it to be, if we're looking at 8, we're tuning content toward 8. And how easily is it to get that 8 to be able to do the things you want to do?
Yeah. So right now there's no last names, Higach, just to answer you. It's not set in stone. As a lot of you know, in the earlier alphas, you could have put anything in there. We had it open pretty much. We had numbers and symbols and things like that. It's been pared down to just one name right now. I'm not saying that's what we'll stick with, but right now we have a single name of a determinate length.
Okay.
Yeah, if you guys want last names, let us know, open a thread or something like that, and we'll talk about it. Well, that would be pretty cool.
Okay. Let's see. Currently, we don't really have any plans at this time to allow cross-faction auction houses or cross-faction trading. There is things that, and even in the beta, you can probably see to where we do allow access to maybe some of the weapons or tech that's out there in the other factions, but we will not have a specific area, at least at this time, where you're going to go pick up a whole bunch of human stuff if you're Rodon and vice versa.
Yeah, and a little bit of trivia on that low-key is the 3 factions actually started out with different monetary systems. They had different things to purchase things with. So that became a little unwieldy. So we went to just the standard sci-fi credits, but we didn't have plans for them to be cross-buying things. So anyway.
Let's see here. I think that's about it. Go maybe one or two more, and then probably call it.
Yep.
One of the things too, if you can help us out with, and want to make certain that you guys see, if you can present us a good argument at the end of the day, we're going to weigh the differences. If we do 6 or if we do 8, those type of things, that'll help us out. But if you can give us a good argument that makes sense, we definitely want to do it. But a lot of times, at least I know as gamers, we sit there and think about, oh, that was so awesome, that was so great, and we don't really think about all the bad things that came with it. I'm not saying that there is, but just make certain you give us that, because we definitely want to put in the stuff that you guys like.
Yeah, Higach asked about the armor faction-based or class-based. For example, can the construct only armor, or can all assailants wear the same? And that's a really good question, and basically it is based on the faction, Higach, because for example, the assailants, their human form is similar across all the male and female versions, so they can wear the same armor, so to speak. When they morph or transform, they actually take the properties of the armor they have on, so it's like that. But obviously the Rodons are different. They have different forms, so they can't swap armor. They're actually per class. And the humans, they actually can as well, because they're just male and female. So the humans are more like the assailant. So it's a little different. The Rodons are the one-offs, I guess, in that.
Yeah. All right. I think that's probably about it. One of the things, as far as going forward, keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. Thanks to Sonia for helping us out. Get your info to her on the shirts so we can get those to you guys. I do see some questions rolling in. If we don't get to them, just toss them on the forums. And I think that's about it.
Yeah. We're really looking forward to having more testing and getting all the issues worked out and improving the game. We really, as far as we're concerned with these new servers, this is kind of where it really starts the serious testing for us. And we'll be here next week, you guys, and we'll be in the testing. So thanks a lot for all your help. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Bye-bye.